Es ist viel zu lange her, Robin, dass wir Nein, Nein, Nein gespielt haben.
It's been 9 years.
Nein. Nee, man kann nichts mit Nein machen aus einem
Du
Monat.
hättest dieses Statement mit Nein beantworten können.
Nein. Stimmt. Lass nochmal machen, Robin, schnell. Sag nochmal.
9 years.
Nein.
Nein?
Nein.
Bam! Intros. Bei Hooks. Nein, TimeToDrei. Nein, TimeToDrei.
Ja.
Wir sind wieder da, Leute. Das war nicht ganz so vorgesehen, dass es so eine lange Pause gibt. Die gab es aber wegen Gamescom und wegen Urlaub danach von mir. Bevor der Tom entschwindet, haben wir uns jetzt mal hingesetzt, um das Spiel durchzuspielen.
An einem Stück jetzt.
Ja, das ist vielleicht gelogen.
Es wird die längste Folge aller Zeiten. Part of the room, bevor wir anfangen, was ist denn zuletzt passiert?
Wir sind wieder in dem Punkt, wo wir in dem großen Hospital Room sind, wo dann der Ace so tut, als wäre er crank und zurückbleibt, um dann Snake zu ermorden. Und da sind wir gerade in dem Moment, wo er gesagt hat, okay, geht mal, und wir sind jetzt reingegangen. Letztes Mal waren wir in einem anderen Raum, jetzt sind wir im Operating Room und danach sollten wir dann wieder zurück im Hospital Room landen, wenn ich mich nicht irre.
Sollte ungefähr so sein.
Ja.
Und davor waren wir in so einer Eiskammer und haben
Eis
was
Nein.
von Eis Nein erfahren.
Heißt das schmilzt erst bei 60 Grad oder so war das?
Ja, irgend sowas.
Irgendwie sowas war das.
Okay, so jetzt geht's weiter. Part of the room just past the door was obscured by a screen. Clover's curiosity got the better of her and she darted past Junpei to peer around the screen.
Oh, ich kann leider keine ganz hohen Stimmen gerade machen. Das fällt mir auf.
Ja, das passt auch. Her scream nearly blew out Junpei's eardrums.
Ja, hast du gut nachgemacht.
He and Seven ran toward Clover to see what had frightened her. They rounded the screen and the cause of her outburst was immediately clear.
What the hell is this? Is this a corpse?
It was something that looked kind of like a human lying across some sort of bed. No, not a bed. An operating table. The table sat on a rusty steel lift and a cluster of bright operating lights shone down on it from the ceiling. Slowly, they approached. As they got closer to the body, it became clear that it wasn't a body at all.
What the hell? That's just a huge doll or something. A doll?
Clover did not look terribly comforted. Slowly, she approached the operating table and looked as intently as possible from as far away as possible at the thing.
Whew.
Junpei could see her relax.
You're right. It's only a doll. Man, it really scared me.
She heaved a great sigh of relief and wiped a few drops of sweat from her forehead.
Sweat.
Seven smirked.
Well, I guess it would have been weird if you actually had any balls. Shut it! Don't you start with me, fatty.
Guter Witz.
Oh, what's this? You want a piece of me, short stuff? I love punching little girls. Yeah, bring it on, you whale. Hey guys, not again, okay? Seriously, knock it off.
Junpei sighed and shook his head.
Anyway, it looks like he's got something. The two of you could stand to have a little more of.
Dass da 2 als 2 steht, hätte mich jetzt auch total weird. Naja.
I'm talking about a heart. Bäh, hat er nicht gesagt. Hä? Oh, this? You mean on his chest? Yeah.
It was set a little higher than normal for a human body, but from the shape of the organ, there could be no doubt that it was a heart.
Why would there be a heart in a doll? I don't think this is a doll. You think maybe it's like a medical mannequin or something? Or maybe it's got more personal uses.
Seven's grin was more than a little perverted.
He fucked the doll.
Clover glared at him.
Anyway, how about we take a look around this place? Let's go! Okay. Sure thing. I'm just going to stay back and fuck this doll. Großer Raum.
I missed this.
Du untersuch jetzt bitte mal the card. Das Card. Den Card. So muss ein Card-Table sein. Wenn du ein bisschen umguckst.
Das da?
Ja. Und
Was ist das?
Genau. Weil das heißt nämlich Kosher Forceps.
Oh,
Und ich wusste nicht, was das ist. Dann gehen
Schon ein
wir...
medizinischer Begriff.
Es müsste irgendwo eine Bench sein. Da, genau. Maybe you're supposed to heat something like that gauze to kill the bacteria? Oh, ist ja aufgedrückt. There's a boiling thingy over there.
Keine Ahnung, einfach nur auf das Ding.
There's nothing on the lid or the drawers. Okay. Fake Chest. Dann ist da noch ein Table irgendwo. Ach, guck mal, doch da.
Doch hier. Ich sofort erkannt.
Dann benutzt du jetzt den Forceps mit dem Mannequin. Nee, on the Mannequin Bust.
Das hier?
Genau.
Combine.
Nee, nicht Combine. Also an dem, das man da oben sieht.
Achso, das heißt, ich muss das hier nur ausgewählt haben. Und dann das.
Genau. Musst du auch
Yay!
Dann gehen wir zur Tür links vom Eingang. Genau, da rein.
Also hier.
Genau.
Nee.
Doch. Weil links war der Eingang. It's locked. We can probably find the key if we just look some more. Let's look somewhere else. Oh, dann gehen wir in Inventar und kombiniere. Wir kombinieren mal zwei Sachen.
Zwei Sachen?
Noch eins, was offensichtlich richtig ist.
Ist das hier offensichtlich richtig, oder was?
Ich meine, weiß ich nicht. Ich möchte gerade nur die Rätselqualität dieses Spiels betonen. Natürlich nicht so.
Nee.
Für gar keinen Sinn. Ja, that's why cutting this organ.
Achso, weil da ein Schlüssel drin war.
Genau.
Ja, nichts davon war offensichtlich.
Ja, man hat ein Skalpell und halt ein Organ, also das konnte ich.
Logisch, dass man erstmal darin rumstochert. Okay. Cool, it's unlocked.
Cool, so funktioniert diese Tür also.
Voll ein Resident Evil
Wirklich,
Ding
ja.
hier gerade.
So, da müsste irgendwo ein Table mit einer Note drauf sein.
Das hier?
A sink.
Achso, nee.
The doctors and nurses probably washed their hands here before an operation. Nothing suspicious here.
Oder das hier.
Ne, der andere Tisch.
Da ist eine Note.
Okay. Das war nicht, was sie meinten. What's this? Is this some kind of medical record? Okay, dann guck mal zum Tisch, der da neben der Tür ist.
Das hier.
Klickt einfach mal drauf.
Das sind einzelne Sachen.
Aha. Okay, dann gehen wir mal durch die Tür auch durch. Vielleicht müssen wir
Oder warte
weiter. Ha! What the hell are you doing? Don't you want to get out of here? But I'm tired. Okay, finden wir keine Note. Egal. Ist ja nur für das Rätsel. Nee, wir sind irgendwie faul. Okay, vielleicht war da noch ein... Kannst du dich umgucken hier?
Hier meinst du, oder?
Unlock the door left of the entrance.
Achso, nee, guck mal, hier ist nochmal ein hier gibt's zwei Türen.
Für zwei Türen benutzen. Ja, okay,
das ging
war
auch
bisher
auf.
noch nicht der Fall.
Ja.
Okay, da sind wir.
Oh Gott.
Einfach den Table in der Mitte. Hey, Junta, you think there are any slugs in here, huh? But if they are, I was thinking we could put salt on them.
Wow, why?
Salt, huh? Do you think the seven will shrivel up if we put it on him? Hey. Calm the fuck down, dude. A rectangular table. I wonder did people mix medicine on this thing? Kannst du irgendwo draufdrücken? Ja, genau.
Ah.
There's a note on the top of the table. Bla bla, das ist nur für dieses Rätsel wichtig, ist egal. Wir müssen jetzt quasi gucken, welche Nummern mit welchen Elementen oder was weiß oder Ressourcen zusammenpassen und dann kommen wir irgendwann auf den Code 349.
Achso, wir haben den jetzt einfach.
Ja. Aber wir müssen halt Carbon Dioxide, Ammonia und Ethanol zusammen benutzen. Und das steht für Nummer 349.
349.
Ja.
Noch was machen? Yay! Skalpell!
Oha, super. Wir haben gerade was.
Nein!
Ich glaube, wir haben gerade was vorweggenommen.
Wir haben was vorweggenommen.
War, glaube ich schon.
Muss ich das jetzt combinen mit dem? Nicht?
Nee.
Warum? Das wäre offensichtlich.
So mal rauszugehen. Oh.
Mhm.
Da waren noch Liquids, die du nehmen konntest im Raum.
Warum sollte ich dann rausgehen?
Ich dachte, wir wären fertig. Red und Blue Liquid irgendwo.
Hier stand nicht bei dem Tisch hier noch was? Das da? Ja.
Offensichtlich
Blue
Red und Blue.
Liquid. Red Liquid.
Liquid.
So, hier noch irgendwas?
Nee.
Okay. Ah.
You think we should go back? Yeah, I think that's probably best.
Clover nodded and left. Junpei was about to follow her when he realized that Seven wasn't following suit.
Hey, Seven, what's up? Oh god.
It's coming!
Oh well.
He looked up at Junpei distractedly and then back down at the bottom bottle he held cupped in his large hands.
What's that?
In response, Seven tossed the bottle gently to Junpei. He caught it and twisted it around to read the label. Na komm!
Ethylene.
Wunderbar.
EDT. It's aluminum. What kind of medicine is that? It's not medicine. I think it's an industrial strength detergent. Why would they have something like that here? Well, probably to clean stuff up. Clean what up? Fuck if I know. Still, it looks like it's cleaned my it looks like it's cleaned my brain up.
Did you drink it? Seven, did you drink it?
Hat er gerade wirklich ein Reinigungsmittel gefunden und das war der Übergang zu, ach, ich kann mich wieder erinnern.
Junpei looked up from the bottle.
Fuck. You remember something?
Aber, sorry, also Film hat mir beigebracht, dass bestimmte Dinge, die musste dann nur,
aber doch nicht
passieren und dann triggert irgendwas.
Wortwörtlich, wenn sie Persil sehen, was läuft, was Dinge sauber macht.
Naja, das ist dann hier auch wieder sauber. Metaphorisch.
Das
Seven nodded slowly and spoke.
Well, I remember... Ah, okay, das ist meinetwegen. Okay, er kann sich... Okay. Well, I remember a story about EDT. It happened about 50 years ago. A long time ago, there was this factory somewhere in America making big old EDT crystals. They were making it to sell as industrial strength cleaner like I told you before. But...
A year after the factory started up, something strange started happening with the crystals they were building. Water molecules started attaching themselves to the EDT crystals. This made them into a sort of mutation of the original crystals called a hydrate. Once the crystal turns into a hydrate, though, it's useless as a cleaner. The factory had to just dump the crystals. As a hydrate, they were useless. But it didn't end there. After that day, the same thing started happening in EDT factories everywhere, even ones nowhere near that first American factory. They'd been making crystals the same way, with the same materials and the same equipment and environment, but now, all of a sudden, every single crystal they formed turned into a hydrate. In fact, ever since that day, no factory anywhere has been able to make a pure EDT crystal. Even in EDT research done years before, they'd never gotten a hydrate. But after it happened at the first factory, it just spread.
Ich würde gerne wissen, ob es da in irgendeiner Art und Weise Vorbilder gibt für diese Stories. Oder ob das wirklich, ob er wirklich einfach nur da ist und dachte, okay, es gibt ein Reinigungsmittel, das heißt EDT und das wird aus Kristallen gemacht und dann gehen an die Kristalle Wasser und dann war es ein Hydrate. Das würde mich sehr interessieren, weil wenn das Zweiteres ist, musst du, glaube ich, sehr wahnsinnig sein, um einfach darauf zu kommen, ich mache das jetzt einfach so und dann schreibe ich das und dann sage ich das wissenschaftlich. Und Leute glauben das und ich glaube das ja auch.
Dass das so innerhalb dieser Welt passiert, ich weiß es auch nicht. Ich frage mich auch, ich schätze mal, es ist so ein Mix aus beiden. Dass er sich halt inspirieren lässt von echten Sachen und dann...
Ja, aber genau das frage ich mich, was für Sachen da inspiriert sein. Weil, naja. It was like, man, how do you say it? Like the molecules were communicating with one another. Transmitting information in a way humans couldn't perceive.
Junpei, you talk like June again.
This phenomena spread throughout the world, right?
Junpei looked up at Seven with half a smirk.
I'm smart.
Seven stared at him, dumbfounded.
I'm dumb. Yeah, that's it exactly, but how did you know? I heard another story kinda like that one. When? In the freezer. What? The freezer?
Junpei told Seven the story he'd heard from June in the freezer in the kitchen. How one day glycerin began to crystallize, and the story of ice that wouldn't melt at room temperature. When Junpei was done, Seven looked thoughtful and absent-mindedly rubbed a scar on his chin.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature, huh? That sounds familiar. Yeah, hold up, I feel like I can remember something. It's right there.
Seven squinted. His eyes stared off into space as if he were trying desperately to focus on something far away.
Do you know about Ice 9? Ice 9? Ice 9, Ice 9. Ice, baby.
Suddenly, Seven's eyes shut open.
Richtig! Ich bin Vanilla Ice! That's it! I remember now! That woman! She's on this boat! That woman? Alice! Who's Alice?
Who the fuck is Alice?
Come on, the woman who won't melt at room temperature! What?
It became clear to Seven that Junpei had no idea what he was talking about.
Clover, don't come in here.
He ran his hand across his face and took a deep breath.
Alice casuals. You know how the Titanic sank on April 15th, 1912, right? Yeah. More than 1,500 people died. Worst maritime accident in history. What about it? Did you hear about the boat that was sent to collect the dead bodies? I think that was the RMS Carpathia, right? Das ist kein Allgemeinwissen.
Ich wollte gerade sagen, ja genau, weißt du.
It was a cruise liner just like the Titanic. Nope. You an idiot. That was the ship that picked up the survivors. The ship that collected the dead bodies was the CS Mackay Bennett. The Mackay Bennett showed up on April 17th, 2 days after the accident. It set out from Halifax, a port in Canada, and recovered 306 bodies. The Atlantic that far north was really cold. It would have to be for there to be icebergs and stuff. Anyway, the bodies they pulled out of the water were frozen solid. This isn't a very nice story. So what happened next? Well, they say that the Mackay Bennett recovered something more than just dead bodies. There were various bits of stuff floating around in the water, things the drowned had carried with them, or stuff dislodged as the ship sank. One of the things they found was a coffin. A coffin? Yep, a wooden one.
The craftsman who'd made it must have been pretty skilled. It wasn't just a wooden coffin, it was all wood.
Also ein wooden coffin.
There were no nails or reinforcements, and there were no gaps in the wood anywhere. It was airtight. The crew got pretty curious about what might be inside it and opened it up. They had to get a wedge and hammer it open. It was so well made. Inside, they found a woman. Or, I guess you should say they found the dead body of a woman. Her hair was thick and black and her skin was deep brown and didn't show any signs of age or decomposition. They say that she looked gorgeous, like a goddess. She was obviously dead, but everyone who looked at her said she just looked like she was sleeping. Her skin was so lifelike, she looked like she might wake up any minute. She didn't, though. Like the rest of the bodies they found, she was frozen solid. Eventually, the Mackay Bennett finished the search and returned to Halifax. The 306 bodies were unloaded and taken ashore. However, it was warm enough that they began to melt. They say that the stink was horrible. But there was one body that didn't thaw.
The girl in the coffin. That's right.
Everybody thought for sure that she'd melt and start to rot like the rest of them eventually, but weeks passed and nothing happened. Then a month had passed, and another, and it was summer, and she was still frozen solid. After a while, people started to say she was some sort of miracle. Rumors about the girl started to spread, and people came to visit Halifax from all over. After a while, people started to call her All Ice. Alice.
Nice.
That doesn't really work.
Doch, das funktioniert
cool.
voll. Ich finde, das ist das Beste, was dieses Spiel überhaupt, die ganze, eigentlich kann man die Trilogie aufhören, weil ich finde, das ist das Highlight der Trilogie. Dass die Frau, die aus Eis besteht, Alice heißt, weil das so ist wie All Ice. Ich finde, das ist so gut.
Also so rein vom Geschriebenen her, ja, aber nicht vom Klang.
Nee, aber weil man es ja liest,
ja.
Du liest es eigentlich nicht vor, deswegen funktioniert es da super. All Ice. Of course, those. Da übrigens auch. Hat er sich einfach gedacht, ich schreibe jetzt eine Frau, die nicht schmelzen kann in die Titanic rein? Ich finde das so komisch. Of course, those. Ich finde das positiv komisch. Of course, those rumors didn't last long. Why? Well, she up and disappeared. One day Alice was there, the next day she wasn't. They say someone snuck into where they were keeping her and stole the body. With the body gone, the rumors followed pretty quickly, and after a while no one remembered her. You might be able to find something about her if you could find a newspaper from back then, but that's about it. Wait, you just said that she was on this boat. Yeah, I did. Alice has got to be somewhere on this ship. Now, why the hell would you say something like that? 'Cause I know. And just what is it you know? What happened to Alice after she was stolen?
Junpei gulped.
Gulp. Alright, tell me, what happened to Alice?
Seven nodded, slowly, and took on the look of a man recalling something long buried.
Well, around that time the word was that there was a thriving black market in New York. I mean, I'm sure there still is, but this was special. All millionaires from all over the world. I've heard that Alice went up for auction there. The person who won the auction was Lord Dashiell Gordon. Dashiell Gordon?
Ich hätte Gordain gesagt.
Stimmt, der war Engländer, oder? You've heard that name before, right? Ja, Sir Gordain.
Ich glaube, so haben wir ihn auch schon vorher vorgelesen.
Yeah. Isn't he the guy who bought the Titanic sister ship? Yep, that's him. Although I guess he hadn't done that yet. What do you mean? Gordain bought Alice in 1912. Then, 4 years later, in 1916, he bought the Gigantic. And he hid Alice somewhere on the Gigantic. But nobody knows where. He died in 1931. And apparently, he died without ever telling anyone where Alice was hidden. However what? Well, he did have one close friend who asked him, "Where is Alice?" And he said, "Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic." What the hell is that? Some kind of riddle? Your guess is as good as mine.
Seven threw his hands up in defeat.
So, that's it. Whatever you think, I believe it. She's hidden somewhere on the Gigantic. In other words, she's hidden somewhere on this ship.
Before Junpei could dispute Seven's rather bizarre claim, they heard Clover's voice from the door. She did not sound pleased.
Hey, what are you two doing over there? Stop wasting time and get over here. Okay, we're coming.
Seven looked at Junpei.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story. That might be useful someday, I don't know. Don't forget it, I guess. I really hope that's going to be important at some point.
That's how people speak.
That's the story, I don't know.
With that cryptic remark, he turned and left the room. Junpei was left behind to ponder what he'd just heard. He tried to remember what June had told him earlier.
Das ist ganz nett von denen. Wie für uns gemacht.
Ja.
That mummy wasn't just a normal mummy. They say that she was frozen. The story says that from the time of its discovery all the way through to when it got put on the Titanic, and even though it was carried through the desert, her body never melted.
Bei June kam diese ganze Geschichte aber noch verzweifelt darüber, als ob sie das unbedingt jemandem erzählen wollte und da irgendeine Überleitung brauchte. Was that Egyptian priestess Alice? Had the water in her body become ice 9?
And what the fuck had this to do with anything? No, that's nuts.
Next episode
There's
on
no way
999.
Somebody like that could exist.
Junpei shook his head, trying desperately to clear it, and followed Seven to the operating room where Clover was waiting. And now we resume the game.